Hi, I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, clinical hypnotherapist, and happy Monday. I'm going to usually do these broadcasts at approximately noon Pacific time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but this week and next week, and possibly the week after, I've got a lot going on, a lot of really fun stuff, so I'm doing these when I can. So if you're watching this at 6 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, this is live. If you're not, then this is a rebroadcast. Either way, we're going to cover some great material. So if you're live, get ready to ask your questions, get ready to share anything you want to. We're talking about the idea of hypnosis. What is hypnosis? So I'm going to go ahead and start by sharing with you the concepts, the basic concepts of hypnosis. Now, this is not the right way or wrong way to teach hypnosis. This is just my way. So I've been teaching hypnosis for a long time, for over 30 years, and this is what I've developed. So there are a lot of schools of hypnosis. Lots of different people will teach you how to hypnotize, and that's perfectly fine. And hello there, Christian. And this is just my way. So let's go ahead and start. The way I teach hypnosis, it has five parts. The induction, the deepening, script, amnesia, and trance termination. So let's take a look at each of those, and after I'm done sharing information about hypnosis, I'm going to open it up for questions. Good evening, Mary Lou, how are you? And I'm going to open up for questions afterwards, and we're going to hear some thoughts, hear some questions. I'm sure you have questions about hypnosis. What is it? How to use it? But I'm going to cover the basics first. So again, there are five parts to a hypnosis session. The first part is the induction. That's where we're inducing the hypnotic state. We're getting the client into this state. Now remember, we've got someone who came from being wide awake and doing whatever it is they do in their daily life to being in a chair wanting to be hypnotized. I'm talking about clinical hypnotherapy now. I'm not talking about stage hypnosis. And hello, Kathy, good evening. And so in clinical hypnotherapy, we want to get that client into hypnosis. We don't have to do it in front of a lot of people or in front of anyone. It's a private office. Hello, Brenda. And we're going to hypnotize the person. So we want to induce the hypnotic state. So that's step one out of 5 steps to get someone into hypnosis. We want to induce the hypnotic state. So the way we do that induction is just by talking about a relaxing walk along the beach, or a relaxing walk in the woods, or floating on a raft in a pool. For some people, they find it relaxing to walk in a city. Some people are from big cities like Manhattan, and they want to walk in that big city. And so the Manhattan area of the city of New York is very busy, horns and so forth. I've got a lot of stuff around me right now, so we might hear some of that. Some people find that relaxing. Hello, Nathalie, and hello, Pris. And so when we're inducing the hypnotic state, we're just painting a picture for them with words. They have their eyes closed, they're relaxing in a chair, and they are relaxing because of the words that we are saying, and by virtue of just lying back in a chair, they're relaxing. So we want to use a lot of relaxing words, and we also want to involve all of the senses that make sense. For example, sight. If I'm describing walking along the beach in an induction, I can say, look at the beautiful waves, look at the beautiful clouds in the sky, or perhaps the clear blue sky. If I'm talking about something you can hear the waves roll in or roll out. Hello, Yvette. For those who just joined, we are talking about hypnosis. We're talking about the first part, the induction, and we're talking about involving the senses during the induction. Go ahead and like this and share this. Let everyone know about it, because I want to really let people know that I'm here to help, and I'm going to be answering questions after this. So you involve all the senses in the induction. If they're on the beach, hello John, hello Luke, and hello Renzo. So you want to make sure that you're involving all the senses that make sense. Sight, sound, smell. You can smell the ocean air. It's salty, distinct. You can smell it. You can see the blue and the green and the white in the waves. You can see the white wispy clouds. So you're involving all the senses, making it very real for the person. Hello, Deborah. And as you do this, they're getting into the hypnotic state because it's being painted as a realistic picture with sight, sound, smell, sometimes taste. Now, taste doesn't always fit. If you're walking along the beach, there's not always something to taste unless they're perhaps at a picnic at the beach. So you don't have to force things to fit when they don't. So there's not always something necessarily to smell, something involving the olfactory senses, or necessarily to taste, involving the gustatory sense of taste. So you don't have to include them if you don't want to. And Deborah, if I didn't say hello already, hello to you. And so we're talking about the 5 parts of a hypnosis session. So far we've covered the induction. That's what we're on right now. We're talking about how to induce a hypnotic state. So when you listen to my recordings or you go to a hypnotherapist, you may see similar patterns. Jarira says, I hope I can stay with you, Dr. Steve, but I'm going to my nutrition training meeting. If I've ever heard a good excuse, that's a good one. So you're excused if you have to go to that. Mary, hello to you. So in the induction, we're just spending 10 to 20 minutes just relaxing the client, the patient. Some people say subject, even though I don't like that unless it's part of a study. But we're relaxing them into a hypnotic state. We're inducing hypnosis. That's the first part of a 5-part hypnosis session. The second part is the deepening. Once we've induced hypnosis, we want to intensify that. We want to drop them even lower into hypnosis. The way we do that is by using the deepening. Some people call these deepeners, and some people even combine them into the script and call it all the same thing. But I say induction is the first part, lowering them into a hypnotic state. Deepening is the second part, where you're intensifying that. So if they're on a beach, it's very easy. All you do is say, now that you're relaxing on the beach, I'd like you to imagine the sun setting from 10 to 1. I'm going to count, and the lower I count, the lower the sun goes. So in this case, you're correlating 3 things: the downward motion of the sun, downward counting, and downward relaxation. So then all I have to do is count down from 10 to 1 and describe the sun setting. And they go deeper into hypnosis. So that's the deepening. If they were walking in the woods during the induction, the deepening could be walking down a hill. And as I count from 10 to 1, you get lower on the hill. So by the time I reach the number 1, you're at the bottom of the hill and completely relaxed. So then I just start counting and walking them down the hill in their mind. Then comes the script. Now the script is sort of like, think about this. The induction in hypnosis, if you were a surgeon, you've opened the body, and the deepening, maybe you've spread apart the cavity, but you haven't really done anything. You haven't done any transplant or anything like that. And hello, Rakazan. I'm going to butcher everyone's name. I just want to get that out of the way at the top of the hour, so that's the way it goes. We'll be here a half hour total, by the way, you and I. So I've got about, looks like about a little more than 20 minutes left. Hello, Hugo. Hello, Foz. And good morning to you, Indonesia. That's awesome. So we are talking about hypnosis, the 5 parts of a hypnosis session. I talked about the induction, the deepening, now the script. So if you think about it like surgery, you've opened the patient, you've got everything ready there, and you're going to now do something. You haven't done anything yet. So this is the big distinction between hypnosis and hypnotherapy. In hypnosis, you're just putting them into a hypnotic state. There's no therapy going on per se. There's no change happening, and that's fine if that's all you're after. But if you want to change the person, then that's when we use the word hypnotherapy. Now, some states in the United States don't like that term, but it's very descriptive because we're doing something to them. We're changing something. You know, in a heart transplant, they would take out the old heart, put in the new heart. In a bypass, they would bypass things. If they were looking for something, they would look for it and remove it. So we're doing something. We're changing, in this case, we're changing the way they think about something. We're getting rid of old beliefs, replacing them with new beliefs. We're bypassing some former beliefs, some former barriers, helping them go around them or go right through them. And we're changing something. That's what the script is. It's just programming them for change. Hello, Nelia. And good morning from the Philippines. All right, you can have your morning coffee or tea with me. This is wonderful. And here it's about dinner time, almost dinner time. It's about a little after 6 here, Pacific time right now. And so the script is where all the magic happens. That's where everything changes. That's where if you're stopping someone from smoking, you're programming them for that. If you want them to be more confident, you're programming them for that. If you want them to be more motivated, you're programming them for that. If you want them to start doing things on time, you're programming them for that. And by the way, I use my own recordings also to make sure that I'm constantly improving myself. So this is the next part of a hypnosis session the way I teach it. The next part after the script is amnesia. Now, amnesia is interesting because you may think, well, why do we want to cause amnesia in hypnosis? Why would we want to do that? Well, the reason we're doing that is we're scrambling the conscious recollection of the subconscious programming that we've done. And so we've programmed them subconsciously to be more confident, more motivated, to stop smoking, to lose weight, to make more money, to really go for it, whatever it is. And we don't want them to undo that consciously. Mary Lou says, 2 questions. Can this be used for one's self-meditation? Absolutely. And what are relaxing words? Relaxing words are words sort of like down, deeper, relaxing, letting go, unwinding, things like that. Kathy says, how would hypnosis work on a person on alcohol? Do not hypnotize drunk people. They won't even do that in stage shows in hypnosis. Do not hypnotize drunk people. They do not belong in the hypnotherapist chair or in a stage hypnosis show because they are a danger to themselves, and in the case of a stage hypnosis show, they are a danger to others potentially. So you do not hypnotize people who are on alcohol or any other drugs that are affecting their mood or their ability to function in a motor way or communicate. Okay, so when we talk about amnesia, we want to scramble the conscious recollection of the subconscious programming. So think about it like this. You have a secretary, and the secretary has access to files. The files are your memories, the memories that have just been put in there. Hello, Prince. And since they are put in there, they're there. They're not going to go away. All we're doing with amnesia hypnotically is scrambling the secretary's ability to go retrieve that file. So let's say we send out our secretary and he goes out to get that file. The file's still there. The secretary, he's just confused about it, doesn't know where to look, doesn't know how to retrieve it. So that's what we're interfering with when we talk about hypnotic amnesia. Not the memory itself, not like in the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind starring Jim Carrey, great movie, but that's not what we're talking about, where they go in and zap people's brains in certain places. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just scrambling the access to those memories so that the patient doesn't undo themselves and undo the good programming we've done. Prince says, pleasant night to you, most admired and in-demand personality in U.S. with pride and prayer. Oh, thank you, Prince. I appreciate that. Shirley says, people who can't let go in an abusive relationship. I tried helping. That can be a challenge. You know, that might be something that I do have a recording called No More Miss Doormat for women and No More Mr. Nice Guy for men, but it may be something that requires programming beyond that. If you're just tuning in, I have a little bit of traffic around, rush hour. I wanted to do this in a different environment today, give you all a different perspective, so here we are. Prince says, an admiration from Historic Resort City, Philippines. Thank you, Prince. I appreciate that. And very, very cool name, by the way. So, we're talking about the 5 parts of a hypnosis session. If you're just joining, go ahead and like this, go ahead and share this with your friends, and don't hesitate to ask your questions. If you've got them, you know, why hold back? I'm just going to share a little bit more about hypnosis, then it's going to be wide open to your questions. That's what this is all about. And Jose says, not a problem, enjoy your recordings. Thank you. Shirley says, have an outstanding day, Steve. Thank you, Shirley. I hope you do too. And so, comment, like this, share this. Get your questions in. Don't wait for me to stop talking. You can put them in now. I'm just sharing with you about hypnosis. And the final part of a hypnosis session is trance termination. We're bringing the client back out of hypnosis. If they're in an office, I'm simply going to count to 3 very slowly and bring them out of hypnosis. If they're listening to a recording, I'm going to instruct them to go to sleep and wake up in the morning refreshed and rested. I don't see a reason for someone to wake up after hypnosis. I always recommend my recordings be used at nighttime so that you can listen to them and go to sleep. If you fall asleep, that's fine, by the way. Your ears are still open, they're still recording everything, so that's absolutely fine. But the final part of the hypnosis session is trance termination. Either me telling them to go to sleep, drift off into a nice peaceful sleep, or if they're in my office, then counting them up to the count of 3. So those are the 5 parts of the hypnosis session. We've got the induction, deepening, script, amnesia, trance termination. And I'm going to open it up to your questions now, because those are just the basics about hypnosis. Nothing fancy, nothing advanced there, just the basics about hypnosis that I wanted to get out. But I want to now find out from you the questions that you have. A lot of people have questions about hypnosis. What can it help with? What are the limitations? I have a cousin who has this situation, that situation. So if you have questions about that, go ahead and put that up. And Kathy says, I wish you had shows in Reno, Nevada. Oh, well, if you mean stage shows, I don't do that. I have friends who do that, and they really enjoy doing the stage shows, but I don't do that. That's not my thing. I'm into clinical hypnotherapy, helping people one-on-one overcome their fears. And hello, Lucia. Welcome. If you're watching, it's a little after 6 o'clock Pacific time, then this is live. You're watching live. And I am open to your questions if you have any questions or comments. Shirley says, love challenges in any field. Absolutely, me too. And I'm here right now taking a little break because I wanted to get a video out. I wanted to reach out to people who have questions. But this is a really exciting time for me right now. I've got a lot of friends who I'm meeting with tonight, last night, over the next week. Wonderful people. I believe Bill Harris, my friend who's in The Secret, will be there. Bob Doyle will be there. A lot of wonderful people who help us spread the word around the world about hypnosis will be there. We call them internet marketers, but really what they are is people who help spread the word, because without that, these messages just wouldn't get out. Rose, wonderful name, says, have a wonderful day, Dr. Steve G. Jones. Thank you. Everything on the world says, have a wonderful day, Dr. Steve G. Jones. Thank you. Two very awesome names. Mary Lou says, where can I find a copy of The Secret? I've looked on Amazon. Well, every time I go into, let's see, I think it's Barnes & Noble or just a regular bookstore, I see it there. So I think you should be fine. Just walking into a bookstore, and if they don't have it for some strange reason, which they probably do, you can have them order it. Leah says, hi Steve, can you tell me about past life regression? Sure, past life regression is based on, pardon the sirens, I wanted to do this outside, get a little outside feel, so sometimes you get traffic and sirens and so forth, the real feel. So past life regression is based on the concept, the theory, the idea that you have lived before, that you've reincarnated, you have past lives, and that you can access those past lives. So that's what past life regression is. And Prince says your expertise is 1 in a million. How to help to, scroll back, how to help to heartbroken people. I think broken-hearted people. Well, confidence and time. Building your confidence with either hypnosis recording or just doing whatever makes you feel good about yourself, and time. That's the secret, my friend. Just mostly time, though. Time heals everything. Jose, do you have a course in hypnosis currently doing your NLP? Yes, I do. If you just Google Steve G. Jones Hypnosis or go to hypnosiscertified.com, you'll find those courses there. And let's see. Deborah says, when you talk about amnesia, does that help a person to forget what they're eating isn't what they should be eating in a hypnosis session? Okay, so amnesia in a hypnosis session for weight loss works like this. So if I tell the person in a hypnosis session they're going to stop eating certain things, then I don't want them remembering that consciously when they come out of it, because they may think, yeah, I know he said I'm not supposed to like cake, but I love it. And so they're thinking about that consciously, and they're undoing the work that I've done. So I don't want that. So that's where amnesia comes in, to stop them from remembering those words. Hopefully, it doesn't always exactly wipe out the memory. Remember, the memory's never gone. It's just the access to it that we're interfering with. So it doesn't always work 100%, but as much of it as I can limit the access to, I'll take that, because I don't want them analyzing it. Jose says, okay, did that one. Deborah says, when you talk about it, did that one. And Keith says, how do you put a client into a deeper state of hypnosis? Do you just extend the length of the deepening portion of the session? Okay, great question. When I started hypnosis in the 80s, I was doing long inductions. And by the way, if you're just joining us, go ahead and like this and go ahead and share it with your friends, please, and just get the word out. So I was doing these long inductions, Keith, when I started hypnosis, and long deepenings. I mean, deepenings where I wasn't just counting 10 to 1. I was having them go done on escalators where I counted from 100 to 1. And then sometimes I would repeat it because I thought I've really got to have them deep. But in the 80s, I really didn't have the advanced knowledge that I have now, which is that even in a state of alpha, you're fine. Even in a light state of hypnosis, you're fine. So these deeper states are not necessarily necessary, nor are you necessarily going to cause that by just stretching out things like that. So there are ways to intensify a state when you need someone deeper, such as theta or delta. Most of those techniques have to do with bringing them out of hypnosis, putting them into hypnosis, bringing them out, putting them in. These are stage hypnosis techniques, which are useful in a clinical setting when you really need to get someone deep. But for most intents and purposes, you do not need to do that. Felicia says, just got online. Can you use hypnosis online tonight? For me, we will not be doing any hypnosis sessions live here because that would just be for you and would be specific to you. Plus, I don't want to put the audience into a trance here. We want to stay awake and asking questions. But thank you, Felicia, for that question. Shirley says, you should do this more often. One way of recognizing the real Steve. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Shirley. And I agree. I'm going to work on doing this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, schedule permitting. I have a bunch of wonderful friends I'm meeting with this week, friends from The Secret, friends who help promote me, friends who really do a lot of good work in the personal development space, as we call it, in helping people. So I'll be working a lot, meeting with friends from around the world. They've flown in from around the world, people who help people. So this is an exciting week. But normally I will hopefully be doing this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 noon Pacific time. And if you just joined, go ahead and like this and be sure to share it with your friends. Pedro says, how hypnosis can make us more professionally successful. Well, it depends on what you want to work on, Pedro, but you can help confidence, motivation, memory retention, just the idea that you have charisma, that you're a go-getter, that kind of thing. So all of those things can be enhanced with hypnosis. Kathy said, would hypnosis help in being so shy about talking to guys? Yeah, absolutely. And the charisma recording that I have would be great for that. Again, I'm not here to plug anything. I'm just answering questions. But if you get a recording about from anyone, whoever it may be, about charisma and interpersonal communication, Kathy, you're going to find that will be very helpful in for you to interact with guys, or for anyone to interact with anyone. Christian says, I need to know how to control pain. Can you help me? I'm still in the hospital. I'm sorry to hear that. The pain is not good. I need to know how to astral project, pain control and astral projection. So two things you can Google. You can Google Steve G. Jones pain control and Steve G. Jones astral projection. A little bit beyond the scope of the time we have together available here because our time is somewhat limited. If I'm reading this correctly, I have about 8 more minutes and then that will have completed a half an hour. So some things, forgive me, I'm not able to go into deeply. But with pain control, there are some wonderful hypnotic techniques, whether you get my programs or someone else's programs. For example, having a circuit breaker in your mind that you imagine, and this button corresponds to this arm, this button corresponds to this leg, your lower left leg, and one that corresponds to your lower right leg, one that corresponds to your upper, to your right arm, and you can have one that corresponds to your torso. When you flip these off, you're cutting off the pain. Or you can have dials initially where you're dialing the pain down. When I worked at a place called Echo Malibu, working with people who are drug addicts, helping them get off of drugs, a lot of times the reason they got hooked on them and stayed on them was because they initially took them for pain control, and then they got hooked on them. And so they never learned to train their minds for that. So I would work with people and help them get off drugs and start using their mind to control the pain. And that's one of the ways I did it with the circuit breaker box. They can imagine in their mind turning it down or turning the pain off. So I hope that helps, Christian. Anita says, anyone else having technical problems like no sound? I live in Minnesota, USA. I believe everyone can hear me. If anyone else is having a technical issue, please let me know. We always want to know about the things that are going well and things that are not going well so we can make improvements. Ellen says, good morning, Dr. Steve. Please do visit Philippines. We would love to attend your courses. Sessions, thank you. Oh, thank you, Ellen. I appreciate that. Apparently, there are a lot of people in the Philippines right now who are waking up and watching this, so that's wonderful. Shirley says, you'll place the world in a sleep mode. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rich Webb says, that's the best profile photo you suggest on social media, whole body, smiley face, etc. Thanks, I have a few downloads of your stuff. Oh, what's the best profile photo you suggest on social media? Whole body, smiley face, etc. You know, I'm no expert on social media, but I would say whatever expresses you. You know, whatever you feel expresses you. Hey, James. I know James Kicklighter, an outstanding video guy in Los Angeles. And let's see. Shirley says, okay, we read that one. Yeah, the best profile photo, I think 3/4, you know, about like that would be wonderful, but it's really personal preference, I believe. And John says, I can hear and see you just fine. Thank you very much. Leah says, you are lovely. Well, thank you very much. I see I have some wonderful friends. James, thanks for being here. Thank you everyone from the Philippines for being here. Kathy says, thank you for your advice. Anita says, my sound just started working. I'm glad I was able to hear tonight. Thanks, Steve. You're welcome. Gina says, I love you. Well, thank you, Gina. I love all of you, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you by answering your questions. I'm here to help you learn about hypnosis, because I believe that people who are interested in helping themselves can do so much with just their minds. I mean, yes, there is a place for medicine. There is a place for medical doctors. I went to a medical doctor today because I'm having a little congestion in my chest. So there is a place for medical doctors. I'm not one of those people who's opposed to medical doctors. But all I'm saying is that sometimes, and more often than you might think, your mind has the solution to your challenges, and you have the ability to overcome if you just know how to do it. Natalie says, thank you, Steve. You are awesome. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Natalie. Thank you very much. We've got a few more minutes here. We've got about 4 more minutes, then we'll round out the half hour. If you're just joining us, go ahead and like it, please, and go ahead and share this with others. We want to make sure that as many people as possible get access to this. Felicia says, let me scroll back a little bit. How can I reach you for help with hypnosis? You can send an email to office at betterlivingwithhypnosis. I'm sorry, to support@betterlivingwithhypnosis.com. Ida says, I can hear you and see you in Calgary. Will you be coming here one day? I'll be in Canada next week, but I'll be on I'm not sure exactly where Calgary is, actually. But I don't think I'll be there. I've been to Toronto and Montreal area over on the east side. So I'll be over on the east side of Canada. That's what I call it. In about a week, but no plans for Calgary in particular. Can do a session on meditation. I will not be doing a session today because time does not permit. I'm just here to answer questions and help out people, so not doing a session today, but thank you. Daruni says, so great, doctor. Well, thank you. Natalia says, love listening to your recordings. Always notice difference when I stop doing it. Thank you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I listen to my own recordings too. Keith says, I have the Hypnosis Suggestions and Metaphors book and all of your books. Do you have any other books that you could suggest? I suggest anything by Richard Bandler and John Grinder concerning neurolinguistic programming, outstanding. If you're into hypnosis and studying it, any book that you can get that's going to give you scripts, hypnotic scripts that you can read. There are also a few books written by PhD psychologists about hypnosis, more scientific data about it. Those kinds of books are always very good. So when I see something by the founder of something, for example, Richard Bandler and John Grinder founded NLP, those are great references because they're obviously authorities on what they founded. And anytime I see a PhD psychologist writing something, I also want to pick up that. So that's the direction I would point you in. Let's see, Christian says, thank you, your work is so wonderful. Thanks for helping me. I will go there, it works. Wonderful. Ellen says, if only I can use hypnosis in hard to deal patients. Well, you can use waking hypnosis. Mary says, are you still living in Savannah? I'm out and about, Mary, I'm out and about. Shirley says, your mind is your solution to any task in life, can be overcome. You're right, Steve. Well, thank you, Shirley. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Okay, so if you're just joining, go ahead and like this, share it with people. I'm going to take a couple more questions before I go, but just wanted to say thank you for everyone watching, everyone being here. Are you going to do anything with Joe? I think you mean Joe Vitale. Joe Vitale and I filmed something that we're very proud of. We think it's very helpful. It was a concept that he had, the fourth dimension process. We're going to be releasing that probably within a few months. It's ready to go, and I think you're really going to be surprised, because Joe always blows my mind. I mean, anytime I work with Joe Vitale, it's just, you know, hold on. It's like you're on a roller coaster, and the roller coaster is going somewhere fun, exciting, and very beneficial for you. So your life just changes. So even doing that seminar, I was transformed just by interacting with Joe. So we had a great time doing that. Had a lot of people there to ask questions, you know, to kind of represent you there, asking questions so we could answer them. Did several hypnosis sessions, a lot of guided imagery, so really good stuff in that program coming out soon. Christian says, my soulmate didn't believe, now she does, thank you. That sounds great. Kathy says, I think he is cool like you. Well, thank you. Dr. Joe Vitale is very cool. I hope to be as cool as him someday. I really do, because he's someone I look up to. He's a little older than me, and if I can stay that cool or become that cool somehow, that would be great. Another thing I want to tell you guys about, I'll be speaking in August in Las Vegas, Nevada, at something called Hypnothoughts. So you can Google that, Steve G. Jones Hypnothoughts, and look that up, and it's something that you can join, and you can join me and listen to other hypnotherapists as well. So if you want to check that out, please go ahead and do so. All right, let's take one final question. Who's got the final question before we wrap up tonight, because we're at the 30-minute mark, and I want to keep these focused, and I want to keep them succinct at about 30 minutes. So let's have one final question. I will field that question, and then I will say goodbye until probably the middle of the week. I'll see if I can come back Wednesday. Also going to work on getting some of my friends from The Secret who are hanging out with me to see if I can pull them over to get them on camera. Christian says he does, not she. Okay. So if there are no further questions, we will go ahead and wrap up right now. If anyone has a final question, have you ever heard of ASMR? I have not heard of that, but I would be interested to find out. So I will go look up ASMR after this. All right. So wonderful questions, wonderful everything. Hello, Hugo. Thank you very much. I'm going to sign off right now. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and like this. Go ahead and share this. Goodbye, Shirley. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. You know, without folks like you to reach out to and help, I wouldn't even have a mission in life. But luckily I do, because there are people who want help. There are people who want to help themselves. There are people who want to learn the technology, the knowledge of hypnosis, and so I'm able to do things like this. My life has a purpose and meaning, and I'm able to meet all these wonderful people who also want to help other people, and that's what I'll be doing the next 2 weeks. So thank you for making my life complete and so abundantly wonderful. I'm Dr. Steve G. Jones, hoping you have an outstanding day.